Hello, I thought I'd give you an update on the dahlias that I planted earlier in the season. Although this isn't one of those, this is one of the ones that I grow in my flower bed. So I left it over the winter and it's been flowering like mad, and it also wasn't that much behind some of the ones that I started off in pots. So I think if you're lucky like me and you've got free draining soil in quite a sheltered garden, it's definitely worth leaving them in if you don't need the space for anything else, because it's quite labour intensive doing it the other way. So I normally don't pick this many in one go of the same variety. This is she's a water lily type, which is probably my favourite. Not so long lasting in the vase, but I just think she's absolutely beautiful. It looks like somebody's gone with a paintbrush on it. But a storm came through yesterday, so I thought if I don't pick them, they're going to get ruined. So that's Evanar. And if you haven't seen my earlier video, I'll link it up here. And that's when I showed how I planted them in pots, containers, and in my cutting patch. And now I'll show you how those ones are getting on. So all these three pots have got this beautiful sort of purpley dark red variety called Ivanetti, and I said when I potted them up that these were kind of borderline on size, but you can see what lovely healthy plants I've got, so I think I've got away with it. I have been feeding them just once a week with a weakish seaweed feed, so I haven't been going over the top, and they're doing really well. They haven't even been nibbled or had any slug or snail damage. So I'm really pleased with how these are getting on. And although I've only got one flower, last year it was probably the latest of all the dahlias to flower. The fact that it's only got one flower is fine. There are loads of buds to come, and it's going to look gorgeous when it's all completely flowering. So these are the ones that I planted in the long arm crates or bulb crates. So I just put newspaper or matting at the bottom, filled them with compost and planted them in. I've had mixed results with these just because where they're against a low wall, and I think it was harbouring quite a lot of snails, because you can see I've got, compared with the ones in the pots over there have been a lot of nibbles. But now that I've moved them over here, I think they're fine because there's lots of new growth coming. They need a little bit of staking, so I've put these bamboo canes in. Oh, there's one there, another one there. And I'm going to just tie around them. See, this one here has kind of collapsed a little bit because I didn't have anything. Well, the weather hasn't been so good. I haven't sort of been keeping an eye on everything as much as I should. I'm sure I'm not the only one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get another cane for the end there. I'm just going to pull them over a bit so they're not too much over the grass. And then I'm going to simply tie string round the canes and do a couple of loops round. They give this a fancy name, they call it corralling, but it's just tying a string round. A couple of these, especially this one, this little lilac one, I had these last year, but they were labelled as something else. They're labelled as burlesca, but they're definitely not that. I've been trying to track down what it is, which is quite hard because there's so many, and because of that I couldn't really look up how tall it got or anything. And if I'd been more organised, I suppose I would have measured it when it was flowering last year. But sometimes in their second year things will grow taller anyway. It's just very simple. I could probably do with another cane in the end there, but I will do that now. Right, turns out my piece of string isn't long enough, So I'm going to tie it off here, and then I'll get another piece and just do the last corner. So first of all, I think you'll agree that everything's growing really well. It hasn't been the easiest season, with very dry weather earlier on and very wet weather last month, but the dahlias seem to be thriving on it. I think because, as I said last time, although they come from Mexico, they come from quite high up, so they like a lot of watering. And I'm going to bring you in closer so that you can see. This is Senior's Hope, and this was the first to flower, and I've picked off from it quite a lot already. I did a wedding last weekend, my first ever wedding, and we picked some of those because the theme was pink, white and green. Occasional one goes a little bit sort of more open, which I then leave for the pollinators, although I will cut that off now. Then the second, and then my second most prolific is this beautiful one called Sylvia, which is just such a beautiful shade of, I know orange isn't everybody's favourite, but I like it. But this is a sort of soft apricot-y orange, and it goes with so many different things, and it has beautiful long stems and lasts really well in the vase. All the ball ones tend to last well, which is why I've got quite a lot of those. So this one over here is a slightly different shade of orange. This one is Cornell Bronze, and it kind of is more bronzy. It's got a bit more of a sort of golden tinge to it. And I think I've only used that one once or twice, but I'm going to pick from it very soon. And you can see I've got getting a lot of flowers on there and lots of buds to come, and I'm looking forward to using that more. I think I've just picked one or two so far. And then this one here, which has got much more of a sort of pink as well as kind of peachiness in it, and this is Daisy Duke. Slightly bigger, slightly more flamboyant perhaps, but also very beautiful. And then this one hiding away here is Copper Boy. So I've gone for lots of the sort of warm colours this year because they're ones that I like, and I already had quite a few pink ones and pale ones, so I felt I needed more rich ones. And this has got beautiful sort of pink on the outside of some of the petals and then orange inside, and there's some more buds to come. I can't quite remember how many I planted in here. I've got it all written down indoors, so I might put it below, but I'm just really pleased how healthy everything looks. And again, very, very little slug damage. This here is a self-seeded annual called shoe fly plant. Funny enough, that has had a bit of a nibble. You'd think something called shoe fly would keep the bugs away, but that's probably, snails live in the ivy, so I think they come down at night. But the dahlias themselves look really healthy, and I'm looking forward to picking lots more of them. So I'll just show you one or two more in the border. My border's doing so well this year that it's quite hard to find the path. Oh, anyway, so this is Evanine. You can see why I picked her before the rain, because she's quite a heavy head, but there's still more coming. So these two you could pick now. They will get a little bit fuller. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 10 buds. That's 2 plants, I think. Were there 2 tubers I put in? I can't quite remember now. But so getting a lot off that. And then this one is Burlesca. So this is what I thought the little lilac ones were going to be as well. But I did have a couple of proper Burlesca. And again, that's a warmer tone, a slightly smaller, maybe more compact ball. And those ones are I find the smaller ones actually easier to mix with other flowers. That was why with the Evanar type, the water lily type, I just kept to them and a little bit of foliage, because they are slightly more challenging. If you had a mixed bouquet, it always looks better if a large flower is sort of at the bottom, and then it kind of balances the overall shape. And I've got one more to show you, which is a really dark one. So come with me through my rather mad flower bed. I don't know if you can hear the bees buzzing round the echinops. They absolutely love it. I have picked some, but I've left lots for the pollinators. Now, as I think about it, I can't completely remember what this one is called. Let me get it in the shot properly. Only just starting to come out. It's quite hard to see because it is so dark. I can't remember that one called Chat Noir. There's several dark ones, and I will look that up and I'll either put it on the screen or put it below. But so I've got one flower coming and lots of buds, and this one over here which is yet to flower. I was going to say this is my favourite of all, but it does change a lot. This is Shiloh Noel, which is kind of a dinner plate one, so not the easiest to work with. So probably not the easiest to work with, but very beautiful, white with a tinge of sort of smoky lilac, and that's as tall as me, which isn't saying a lot, but shows that it's doing well. So I hope you enjoyed that little update. I've still got lots to come. There's several that haven't flowered yet but have got buds, so I'm sure I'll do another video when they're more up. Oh, here come some butterflies. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.